forward. Okay. So thank you all for joining us. We are going to, I'm just going to start us off with a few housekeeping items. I'll remind you, if you could add your company name to your Zoom name tag, that would be great. Just right click over your name, and when the rename pop-up opens, click on that and add your company name after your name. That would be great. Okay, so it looks like it is 12 o'clock and we have a bunch of us in the house, so thank you for joining us. I am Christine Gaudet, LTEN's Director of Events, and today we are doing a partner preview with one of our partners, Qstream. We have our own Greg Honroth helping us out with the chat monitoring, and we also have Rich and Brini joining us as well from Qstream. So a couple of quick housekeeping items. Throughout the presentation, please feel free to chat any questions in through the chat function. We will be answering those questions. If there isn't enough time to answer all of the questions, they are happy to, both Rich and Brini are happy to follow up with you after the fact, and they will put their contact information in the chat feature as well. You're also welcome to reach out to either Greg and myself, and we will get you into contact with them. So we will be recording today's session. It should be available within 48 hours after the partner preview, and we will put it up on our LTEN website under the lten.org partner_library section. So feel free to check it out if you want to get into it further. So today presenting, we have Rich Lanchinton, the CEO of Qstream, and we also have Brini McIndoe, the Senior Product Manager at Qstream. So thank you all for joining us, and I'm going to hand things over to you, Rich, and welcome. Thanks for joining us.
Christine, thank you. And thank you for the time slot. LTEN, I think, has to be one of the oldest first partnerships that Qstream has had. And it's been a great partnership. And many people on this are customers. And if you are, thank you for your business. We really appreciate it. We wanted to come on here and show you the new platform that we've been working on at Qstream. And I'm going to hand it over to Bryony to show that to you. But just to keep in mind, our objective at a high level, our objective, because we have such positive feedback from learners and such good engagement statistics and efficacy of the product, is really to make it the enterprise micro-learning platform. So we've been working on this because we've really worked on our pricing, the product. We want Qstream to be used by your entire corporation, your entire division. And that's been like a high level objective. So Bryony's going to show you a lot about the refreshed responsive design. She's going to show you around the content library, the ease of use of content creation. But keep in mind, we've done a lot of work on the database to really make it an enterprise product, to be able to capture data and then present it back in a level, really not seen before for looking at proficiency across an enterprise. So keep that in mind. Those are all the database parts aren't always visible, but this is a true robust platform that this is sitting on top of. So thank you. Let's get right to showing the product. So Bryony is a product manager for Qstream that's been working with this product for the last few years.
Great, thanks, Rich. So what you're all seeing here is just a performance dashboard that we have put together, just highlighting some of those analytics that Rich has been talking about. I'll come back to this in detail in a minute, but I just kind of wanted to start off here because it's very illustrative of the particular focus that we have had as part of this project in making sure that in everything that we do, we are making sure that you have, granular real-time information about what is happening with your learning, what's happening with your learners, what they are learning, where they are struggling, where they are not proficient, where they are not engaging, and exactly what's going on within your organization. So as you can see, this is just kind of a high level view, and I will come back to this in a little bit more detail at the end of the demo. So I'm actually going to kick off. So this is kind of the participant experience, but the first thing I'm going to show you is actually creating content in this kind of updated version of the platform. So a big emphasis for us in the work that we've been doing here is making sure that you have access to a reusable content library. You have access to really, really easily be able to reuse all of those learning assets that you have put so much effort into creating to put into Qstreams, as time goes by. So what I'm looking at here is, and you can see it's the demo environment, so there's lots and lots of users, but what I'm looking at here is every single piece of learning, every single Qstream question that has been created across my organization. So for instance, Cahill and Richard seem to put stuff in, their particular focus is, kind of compliance, maybe GDPR stuff. So I can kind of see what's going on with all of that. I can see that David is looking to run a Qstream focused on talking to customers and customer success and those kinds of interactions. So, that would be a completely different use case again. And I think that Peter and Shubi have stuff in there around unconscious bias, diversity, equality, and inclusion, and all of that kind of thing. So you can see how across all of the different parts of my organization, there are people using Qstream for all of these different use cases. So I've got everything in here. I can also see, and there's some more granular detail about this content that I will show you in those analytics at the end. But just I've got this very kind of high level snapshot of what is in here. I can view it sorted by individual topics and that kind of thing, but I can also see how it's being used. So I can see that there's content that I've put in here, which is specific to good clinical practices. So kind of pharma-focused, clinical ops content has proven to be very popular within my organization. It has been run with, 5 different groups of learners. It's been run in 5 different Qstreams. Some other content that I have in here has been less used. So I have some pieces in here around unconscious bias, which has only been used a couple of times. I think that content that David's put in, he hasn't run it yet. So I can see that, it's still kind of a work in progress. I haven't sent it out to any learners yet. So you kind of get that quick overview of how your content library is being used. I'm going to do a quick run through actually creating a question just so you can have an idea of what that process looks like. So I'm actually going to start off with one that I started creating earlier, just so that you don't have to watch me typing a bunch of stuff. So I'm going to go in and edit this. Something that we've really focused on here is making sure that we are doing everything we can to help you create really engaging, really impactful content, because we know that Qstream content is kind of micro learning. It's often a slightly different way of thinking about learning and thinking about creating content than you might create for some other tools. So we want to really be as helpful as possible in this content creation process to make it easy for you to create that impactful content. So I can see I've got this checklist down here. I've got everything in this question that is required. I've got everything that makes a question. I've got the question, I've got an explanation, I've got a correct answer, I've got an incorrect answer, but there are a few things here which just kind of through our kind of years of best practice, we've kind of learned, if you add in a few of these things, it just helps to make sure your learners, your participants are really engaging with the content. So I'm going to take a couple of these recommendations on board, and I'm going to go up here and into my question, I'm going to add in an image. So I'm just going to hit that. So I've got this here just on my desktop. So I'm going to go ahead and embed that in there. I might decide that actually I want the image to come first, so I'll just drag it up there. I'm going to go ahead and put this in bold because it is the actual question part of the question, so I want to highlight that. Again, with my answer choices down here, I've got a couple of tips and tricks. If I wanted to add a couple more distractors, or if there was actually only one correct answer here, I could set that up. That's all easy enough. And then down here in the explanation, kind of the same thing. I just want this to just be a little bit more engaging, a little bit more impactful. So I'm going to do a bit of formatting, but I'm also going to add in a video, because I think that's probably going to be a good way to really, reinforce this information. So I've got a short video here, which I'm just going to copy and paste that link in, and that's going to embed it straight into the explanation. And maybe I might decide that I don't like the flow of this, so I'll add a separate text box and put that down. So this is all just kind of by way of saying that we have tried to make it as easy as possible for you to get your content into the platform in the flow, in the way, in the style that makes the most sense for you, for your learners, for your content. The last thing I'm going to do is add in a topic here. Which this will become important later on when I'm looking at the reporting. So, I know this is all about good clinical practices, and maybe I'll add a second topic because this is about institutional review boards. So I'm going to go ahead and save all of those details. And there it is. It'll be there available in my question library for myself to use, or for anyone in my organization to use if they want to run the same topics or run the same information. I'm going to move over to the participant experience now. So here I am. I'm a learner. I've come in here. This is my dashboard. Probably the first time I come in would be coming in via a notification email. I might just go straight into the question. If I do come in here to my dashboard, the very first thing up here that I see is the questions that I am being prompted to answer, because that's the most important thing. I could also have a look at, the leaderboard and that kind of thing. But the first thing I'm going to do here is have a look and see what I have available. And I'm going to go in and answer a question. So it looks like this is my third attempt at this particular question. I'm really just reinforcing information at this stage. I've got my question, I've got my answer choices. I'm going to go ahead and select those. And I can see that, I've gotten it completely correct, which is great. And so I've also mastered it. So I've gotten, a bunch of points that will boost me up the leaderboard. And I've gotten those for mastering the question. I can see that I've mastered it. It was the third time I'd been asked it. I'm not going to be asked it again. I know I've retired it. I can feel confident that I know this information. And then importantly, I've got this answer explanation down here as well. So that's really going to reinforce this information. Perhaps third time around, I might not read it all in detail, but certainly the first time, I would have wanted to, particularly as I didn't get it right the first time, I would have really wanted to, have a look at this and see where I was going wrong and make sure that I was really reinforcing this information. I'm going to answer a second question here. In fact, I'm going to go back here and answer a question for the first time. One of the things that I kind of just want to highlight is as we have been, refreshing our user experience, one of the things we've done is made sure that we have built it to be as responsive as possible. So basically, just to make sure that you are having this completely consistent experience as a learner, no matter what device or screen size or what have you are having a look at this on. So the easiest way to show you this is just to shrink my screen like this. So I'm going to get to a point where I don't have enough horizontal space anymore, as I would if I was looking at it on a mobile device. And you can see that I've got all of the same information in roughly the same format. The images have all resized, appropriately and correctly. And I've got all that same information there. So this is actually my first attempt at this particular question. It's the first time I'm seeing it, although actually I've just created it. But something else that you can see here is that something that we have tried quite hard to focus on is to make sure that while I was creating that question, the look and feel of creating the question is as close as possible to the look and feel of receiving the question. So when I'm putting the content into the system, I know exactly how the participant is going to see it when they're actually getting asked that question. There's no disconnect from that perspective. So I'm going to go ahead and answer this question at random and submit it there. And you can see all of these same details. So I'm going to pop this back out to full size. So you can see how that just resizes quite neatly for whatever I'm looking at it on. I will just take a second as well to draw attention to some of these things at the side here. So I called out the points before, so we've got this breakdown of what you're actually scoring the points for. We want to be very, very clear with participants why they're scoring points. It's not just about getting it right and wrong. It's also about just engaging with the content. This is a learning exercise, not just a testing exercise. So, you got 30 points just for turning up, because we want to make sure that you continue to turn up. I can see here that my next attempt is going to be in 5 days. So I got it wrong. I want to reinforce that in a short enough time frame to make sure that I'm really reinforcing the right information. I'm not internalizing anything incorrect. I've got all my correct answers at the very top here, because those are the things I need to be focusing on. I can see the one that I got wrong, but these are the ones that I really want to take a look at. And then down here, you've got your Qstream score and also my Qstream proficiency. So my Qstream score is there to, kind of help me engage from a social competition perspective. So, competing on those leaderboards, which I'll show you in a second. But I've also got my own Qstream proficiency down here. That's just my personal performance in this Qstream. So perhaps my manager has said to me, Bryony, you really need to be aiming for a benchmark of 85% proficiency, in this learning exercise. So I can see here that I know that I haven't quite hit that. So I need to work a little bit harder. So we know that not all learners are the same. We know that not everyone is motivated by the same things. So we just want to make sure we have a couple of different ways for you to engage your learners and for them to keep on coming back to the learning. The last thing from the participant experience that I'll show you is just back to this dashboard here. So for people who might be familiar with Qstream already, you'll see a couple of changes here. So for instance, we have put quite a lot of emphasis on really making it very clear to the participant where they are in the process, how they're doing, how they're getting on. We know that a Qstream is very often not a linear process, because you're getting these questions repeated over time. We've got this adaptive algorithm that repeats the questions in certain timeframes, depending on whether I personally have got them wrong or right. So I can see here that, I've retired 2 of these questions. I've got 6 kind of repeats coming up, and there are 10 questions in this particular Qstream that are net new to me. I've never seen them before, so I know what to expect. And then this is linked to a little section at the bottom here where I have a bit more context on that. So as a learner, again, I might not be at all familiar with the spacing effect, or, why am I being asked the same question twice, or why am I not getting questions every day? So I've got this full explanation here of what to expect. I'm going to get 2 questions every 2 days. This is what's going to happen if I get it right. This is what's going to happen if I get it wrong, etc. So I've got all that information down there. And then finally, I've got my leaderboard here. So here's the competition aspect. I can see that I have a score of 340. I'm 5th on the leaderboard, which isn't great, particularly when you look at Kenneth. He's got over 2,000 points, so I might feel a bit dispirited. But I can see that compared to Kenneth, I've answered very few questions. So maybe he started a little bit ahead of me, or maybe I just haven't been engaging. So this helps me know, well, hang on, actually, just if I just, start engaging with this content, if I start answering my questions a little bit more consistently, I might actually still be in with a chance to get up there to the top of the leaderboard. So that's kind of the whistle-stop tour of the participant experience. The last thing I'm going to take you through is, as I said, I'm going to go back to those analytics. So as I said, here you've got your kind of very top level view. And one of the things we've tried to do with the analytics is make sure that we are supporting everyone within the learning process. So as you can see, we've got some information for the participant in their own experience. They can see their own proficiency. They can see exactly how they're getting on. So we've got something for them. We want to make sure that we also have detailed analytics for the person running the Qstream, some detailed analytics on the content for the people who are creating the content, those subject matter experts or whoever it is, so that they can understand not only how participants, how learners are performing against the content, but how the content itself is performing, all the way up to maybe I just want to roll up of, I want to put together an exec briefing or whatever it is. I just want to see what have I run on Qstream in, say, the last few months. I've run 4 Qstreams. I've sent that out to 52 unique participants who are in 4 different countries and 14 different teams, etc. This is what my engagement looked like. I had pretty good, in fact, I had a fantastic starting rate because it's demo data and it wouldn't be interesting if it was all great. I didn't have fantastic completion rates, so maybe something I want to dig into, etc. I had some pretty good proficiency increases and that kind of thing. But obviously I can then drill down into this as well. So if I want to see a little bit more detail, for instance, about my engagement, I can see here a whole lot of detail about, the individuals and all of the individual Qstreams that they are participating in. So perhaps all I really care about is I just want to know who hasn't started. Sorry, my internet is a little bit laggy, as you would only want for a demo. So I can see there are people who haven't started, so maybe I want to follow up on that. But maybe I want a bit of a more nuanced view. I just want to see people who haven't completed a Qstream. And maybe what I really want to know is who hasn't attempted all of their questions. So who hasn't even seen all of the content once? Maybe that's something that I want to dig into. I want to see that for this particular Qstream for the unconscious bias challenge, Bridie McIndoe has only actually attempted 60% of the questions. So maybe something happened, maybe I went on vacation, maybe there was an issue there, but perhaps my manager would want to kind of dig in and understand why I've only tried that number of them, or whatever it is. It might be that on an individual level is not that helpful for the number of participants you're dealing with, or just the kind of information that you want to know. So there are lots and lots of different ways to slice and dice the data. We've tried to make it, as I said, as granular but also as accessible as possible. So for instance, here it is at kind of a group or a location level, so I can see that for whatever reason, the client services team seems to be engaging at a lower rate than the client services team in Ireland. So the client services team in the US versus the client services team in Ireland. So, maybe I just want to dig into that a little bit and understand what's happening there. The other couple of things I'll show you, just because I'm trying to keep an eye on time here. So Qstream, we talk about proficiency a lot. That's a big driver for us. So because you've got the repeats, it means you can track your initial proficiency, where people started, and then you also have these proof points all the way through of how they ended up, how they did all the way along, and also how they ended up, what is their current proficiency in whatever learning event or topic they're looking at. So in this instance, in whatever period of time I'm looking at, I ran 4 different Qstreams. I can see what the proficiency improvements were for each of those. So, I ran this unconscious bias challenge, had a great initial proficiency, not a huge proficiency change. Maybe I'm happy with that, but maybe this might be indicating to me it would be worth having a look at my content and maybe making it a bit more challenging from the get-go. Maybe I was struggling with engagement towards the end there. Sorry, excuse me. Whereas for this Qstream, this introduction to first aid, I started off actually not great at all, but I ended up pretty well. So this was definitely a kind of worthwhile endeavor for me to run this. And then I can drill down, as you see here, into those different groups, however I've chosen to set up the data myself. And I can see, the client services team had this really fantastic proficiency increase. They ended up really, really well. And the engineering team had an increase, started off with more knowledge, it looks like, than the client services team, but didn't end up as great as them. So if I was, looking for a benchmark of, a little bit more than this, I might want to dig into that there. If I was more interested, less in the learning events and more in just the topics themselves, I could drill into that as well. So that's where you come back to, what I showed you a little bit earlier, the importance of, structuring your content as it goes in appropriately. So I can see here what topics my organization is really struggling with. So I already know a little bit about that first aid one, but maybe if I want to drill into those types of bias, it's not enough for me to know that people are struggling with this. I want to really specifically know which bits of this are they struggling with. And it looks like, somewhat concerningly, people are struggling with gender bias and confirmation bias. So there's an opportunity for me to dig into that a little bit. And I could, have a look at the individual people who were struggling with those bits, at a really granular level if I wanted to, or whatever it is. The very last thing that I will show you, because I will leave a couple of minutes for questions at the end, is just this really, really granular view of all of the content. So this is not even at a topic level. This is at a question level. So these questions, which are reusable, so across all the Qstreams that they have ever been included in, I can see how people have been getting it right, getting it partially correct and getting it wrong. And again, I can really drill into that. So maybe I'm not so interested at an average. I just want to see, when people get this question last, when they answer this question at the end of a Qstream, how are they doing and where are the places that I'm struggling? So I can see here that people at the end of a Qstream, when they're subsequently answering this question a second or even a third time, they're still not getting it. They still don't know what to do in an emergency. And again, I can drill down into that and say, in this particular Qstream, people were getting on a little bit worse than in this one. So maybe there was something to do with the materials that I gave those 2 different cohorts, etc. So you really have this huge wealth of information at this very high level, depending on what you care about, and also at this very granular level, so you can really dig into what you've got. And I feel like I've taken us right up to time. Sorry about that, but were there any kind of really pressing questions it might be worth addressing?
Yeah, Bryony, I think the biggest question, Mark is a partner of Qstreams, and he's wondering if or when will the interface, new interface, be available for Qstream clients?
Oh, so it's available now. We have clients using it today. We have both existing clients and new clients using it. We are initially rolling it out. We are tending to run pilots with our existing customers. So if you are interested in using this, please do get in touch. We're very happy to work with you to run your next Qstream on this. It's all available and live today.
Great. think that's the major question. All the other questions were addressed in the chat. For example, can leaderboards be turned off for a specific country like Germany, where that's usually not allowed? So yes, you can turn that off. Does Qstream offer admin services? So every Qstream client gets a customer success manager and a service representative that will help you with your launches if you don't have those resources internally, and also with helping you build content and reviewing that content if that's needed as well. So I think those were the major questions for this session.
And again, as I said, very, very happy to, please do get in touch. We'll, if you want to run a pilot as an existing client or as new customers, we're very happy to help out with that. I know this has been a little bit of a whistle-stop tour, so if you are interested in digging into anything in any more detail, we're always very happy to hop on the phone and do a more detailed demo. So please don't hesitate to get in touch. We're always very happy to do that.
Wonderful. Well, thank you so much, Rich and Brini. That was a fantastic overview. And again, as they said, if you have any questions or need to get in touch, feel free to reach out to them directly, or if you'd like their contact info, you can reach out to Greg or myself, and we will be happy to get you in touch with them. So thank you all very much.
Thank you, guys. Have a great day.
Thank you so much. Thank you for your time.
Thanks, everybody.
Thanks, Bernie.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Great job. Thank you.
Sit on.